Hello, welcome to Zing Astrology. I'm Heidi, your astrologer. So let's get started for your week ahead for January 27th to February 2nd. This week I was thinking about two words. With so much Neptune and Venus and Mars action, I was thinking illusion and emotion are the two words that came to mind to explain this week. We're still riding off the waves of the Venus conjunct Neptune transit, which is romantic or can lead to romanticism or wearing rose-colored glasses, and also can be a time when we are kind of under an illusion and we're not sure what is really true. But sometimes that's kind of nice in romantic relationships because we can gloss over the negative things about someone and fall in love with the dreamy side of being in love. So there's pros and cons to Venus conjunct Neptune. But then we have Mars squaring Neptune. Mars square Neptune is not as much of a fun transit. There's not a huge pros side to this feeling. One is there's low energy physically. Mars is not really happy in relationship with Neptune. Mars is an action planet, and Neptune likes to dream and hang out. So when you have these two combined in a not so great friction type relationship, we can start feeling some of the negative emotions of Neptune not being in a great relationship to Mars, which can be jealousy, insecurity, maybe feeling like you're not so good at what you do. You may be feeling like others are talking about you, or that you're not seen in a good light by other people, maybe a stab in the back kind of feeling. We can also be too trusting and then realize we're getting taken advantage of. So there's a lot of caution around this transit this week of maybe holding off on taking big action on a new project or signing on the dotted line, whether that's in business or relationship, and just kind of sitting back and being in observance instead of acting on some of these things that you're kind of not feeling fully involved in. Next, we got to think about the end of the week, which is interesting. As we move into a first quarter moon, there's some good transits with the moon and Jupiter. So when the moon and the emotions and the inner self are in a happy situation with Jupiter, the planet of benevolence and good luck, well, then we're able to communicate our emotions with others in a more positive way. And it's usually taken more positively from the other person as well. And then after that, we have Venus sextiling Pluto by the end of the week. That's a time when the love planet with the deep transformational planet are having a relationship. And so in your own relationships, just shallow emotion won't be good enough. You're going to want to build deeper bonds. Those bonds will intensify. You want more depth and intimacy. So as we move from illusion and kind of some fear and confusion, towards the end of the week, we have more ability to communicate our feelings. That's taken pretty positively, even if it may not be a completely positive communication. And then because we are opening up and sharing those feelings with the other, then we're more welcomed in to build a deeper, more intimate bond. We all know that communication aids in intimacy, and with the planet of Pluto helping us go a little deeper, we'll have that ability. Because of some of these heavier emotional transits, I felt like we're going to have some deep issues that may come up for us. And one of the emotions that kept standing out to me in my mind was guilt. In fact, I drew a couple cards to assist me with this reading tonight, and two of them, the two were guilt and intensity. And when I meditated and looked at the explanation for the guilt card, it really struck me. We have all of this Aquarius energy that's helping us right now to detach from our past and to detach from some emotions so that we can look back and see things a little more clearly. But we have these other planets that are muddying the waters a little bit. The thing I started thinking about with our past and what can trap us there, what's the worst emotion that can trap you in your past? One, it's being illusionary and looking back and thinking things were better than they were. The second is guilt. Guilt can trap us in the past faster than anything else. And guilt is the one thing that can keep us from turning the next page into the new chapter of ourselves and our relationships. If we're having guilt, it's a pretty useless emotion. The only reason to ever have guilt is if it's to enact change, if it helps us learn a lesson and to do things differently the next time. Other than that, guilt simply traps our minds and our beliefs. It leads to negative thinking that then gives us low self-esteem and makes us feel horrible about ourselves. So there's not just the forgiveness of others that's so important, there's the forgiveness of yourself. And also detaching from the past, your past mistakes. We all have them. And if we're dwelling on them, that can be our own trap this week with the Mars Neptune, with falling too deep into emotion, with thinking someone's talking badly about you, or just not able to move forward. It's guilt that'll keep you stuck in the past. So when we think about intensity, so with that one, we can be very intense and it can be very positive. When I was reading about this card, it was surprising some of the information that came up. We don't need to look outside of ourselves to find our truth. We can read a million books, we can read a million quotes, we can research every guru and every belief. But what rings true for you? What are your values? What do you truly believe? When you know that, you can move forward with an intensity that shows everyone around you you know who you are and you know what you want. That's a little bit difficult this week with some of these transits. However, we're going to move through those pretty quickly until the end of the week when we have those transformational energies working with us and some benevolent energies to help us go deep and be open and honest. Honest with ourselves and honest with the other. If you're feeling a little deflated or defeated or low energy this week, it's just another season and it's going to pass. So when we look at detachment, if we work with the Aquarius energy of letting go of our past, being in observance about what we're finding in our own personal lives, are we just able to sit back and go, oh, I see what's happening here? Are we emotionally connected to it so much that we're trapping ourselves? So let's let go of what was in the past, how we acted in the past, because that's not us anymore. If we're triggered right now, it could be that we're triggered simply by something that happened to us 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Maybe our parents treated us a certain way and a partner is igniting that in us this week. But they really haven't done anything wrong. It's all in us. So whatever shame or guilt you're holding on to from back in the day, it's time to let it go. Because it's time for a new chapter. And it's a new Chinese zodiac year. It's year of the rat. It's time to get things accomplished, and we can't do that if we're holding on to bad feelings about ourselves. So let's find the intensity in ourselves. Let's find our truth, our power, our strength. Let's see through the illusion that could be happening this week. And if we can't see through the illusion, or we're confused, or we're feeling like we're on shaky ground, or something else is on shaky ground, just observe. Just wait. Just hold on until it feels right in you, until you are resonating with your own authority around someone or something. It doesn't hurt to wait. It doesn't hurt to be patient. It doesn't hurt to feel into it until it's a full-on yes or a full-on no. So if you feel like you can't find the answers yet this week, that's probably par for the course. And by next week, when things start shifting again, a little less Neptune, a little less illusion, you have more clarity and less emotion and slightly more detachment, those things will become more clear for you. The things you want to move forward on and the things you want to do. So enjoy your week. It may be emotional, it may be cloudy, but it too will pass. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.